Hey guys, it's Yorka here with some iRacing gameplay. Once again we're at the Jefferson Circuit around Summit Point Raceway and we are in the Mazda MX-5 Cup car. I would like you to hang with me throughout the entire duration of this race and then voice your opinion on the matter at the end. So, yes, we're starting P4 on the grid. I did do some qualifying prior to that, but obviously didn't qualify quite as well as the guys in front. I thought it would be the best way to give me a chance of basically, you know, getting a good start, getting some positions and increasing my chances of the win, as I seem to do gain a position or two on the first lap around this track. So just waiting for those red lights. There they are. Now we're just waiting for the green light, holding the revs, shifting just about at the right time. Very good reaction times. However, my first shift wasn't too great and neither was the second compared to the guy to my right front, as you can see. Coming down into turn one, just kind of trying to hope for an opportunity to try and slip past someone. We've got a slower car here who's just slipped back into third. I'm trying to find a way past, find that opportunity, but also trying to defend from the guy behind me as well, as he's looking a little bit feisty and trying to sneak his car up the inside somewhere along. And it looks like we're all basically just going to settle back down into the positions that we started in. And yep, as you can see, staying in fourth, trying to take it fairly smooth. So there was one or two positions changed. As you can see, someone complaining that someone else wrecked their car. Guessing that happened through the first sequence of corners, but you know, it didn't involve me, so I'm not too bothered about that. Coming into the last turn, just trying to line myself up with a good run coming out through the exit. However, the car didn't quite come as tight through the second part of the apex as I would have liked to, and had to hesitate on the throttle ever so very slightly. And we're just dipping the wheels onto the grass as we come into the braking zone of turn one. Just about managing to hold that without too much drama going on. Had to give a slight turn of opposite lock to just try and keep that rear end in check. And that has going to cost us a little bit more time, as you can see, down to 0.8, 0.9 seconds to the guy in front. And we do also have the guy behind us who is a little bit closer with 0.5 seconds. So it looks like it's possibly a 5-6 way battle for first. The guy in 7th is a little bit further back. Not too far off, he's 1.2 seconds behind 6th place. But as you can see, first position is pulling away ever so very slightly. And it's actually, there's my first 1x penalty point. Yeah, I was going to say, as you'll see throughout the duration of the race, the various pace of the different drivers around me, where they're kind of almost like doing a small tyre saving mode, and when they're not, sort of thing, and when they're attacking. But as you can see, second place is starting to close up on first a little bit. Myself and third position are just kind of holding the ground along with the guy behind me in 5th. 6th, he's not really going anywhere either, and 7th is dropping off ever so very slightly. Could have been a tiny bit tighter to the apex of that left-hander there, but nothing too major. I haven't really lost too much time, apart from the guy in front who had a very, very good run through it and has actually closed up on the leading battle there between P1 and P2. That's a better run through that corner, using a tiny bit of the pit entry there, just a little bit of extra runoff, which is why you see the pit thing flash up, and the guy behind is having a little bit of a look down into turn one, but I covered that off quite nicely and preventing him from doing so. So he just basically took his usual, or tried to take his usual racing line, but went a little bit deeper, and we've got a little bit of slide there. But managing to keep hold of that quite nicely without too many drums. It is quite easy to lose the rear end of the car if you go into that corner a little bit too hot. When you come back on the power, the rear wheels just spin up, and yeah, you end up spinning off. But I've had a terrible run through that corner, and the guy has managed to get a decent run through there, and is now on my inside for this left-handed hairpin, giving him room there, getting very, very close, and just about managed to hold it on around the outside. I realised that there's no point trying to fight him all the way around the outside of the second part, so slipping back behind him, concede the position and just settle for 5th for the moment, and see if I can present myself with an opportunity to try and get back at him at another stage. 6th kind of had a little bit of a look through down the outside, but ran a little bit too deep, and as you can see up ahead, P1 and P2 have swapped positions. in and amongst all that as well. So I'm going to try and keep pace with the guy in front and see if we can possibly try and get the position back at some stage. Hooking the corner up very nicely this time. Not quite as well as him, although he did dip the wheel onto the grass a very tiny bit, but that wouldn't have affected him too much if he managed to keep the car in the throttle. As you can see, he's kind of maintaining the gap, and it looks like second and third have now gone and swapped positions. Possibly, yeah, they have. And so yeah, a few little moves going on at the front. As you can see, the person who did start second has hopped up into first, and he's gone and lost 2 positions. And as you can see, P1 is pulling away from the guy in second, although they were battling in the last lap, so that would have aided him a little bit. And as you can see, both me and P4 are closing up to the battle for second and third as well, which is working quite nicely in our favour. Something that I always like, and it's one of the things about this track as well. If you're in clean air, you can get decent lap times in fairly consistently, but if you're battling, it does hurt you a fairly significant amount. And as you can see, people taking different lines through that corner. Try and take a slightly tighter line through the second part, or the middle part of the corner, and then try and get on the power a little bit early and let it run out wide. But they seem to try and straight line the exit a little bit more, which, if you hook up, works really well, but if you don't hook up, which is difficult to do, then yeah, it does cost you time. It's usually just generally safer to take the shorter and tighter line. So I'm obviously trying to settle down in this race a little bit and try and find a rhythm. We're on the 7th lap out of 15. As you can see, my last lap was a 56.8, which is pretty good. If we can keep that up fairly consistently, ideally you'd like to be in the 56s if you're in the chance of winning a race on this circuit. As you can see, car not very stable through that left-hander, so grip levels are starting to drop. I also did unsettle the car ever so slightly, more than I would have liked to. It's been a little bit too forceful with the car coming through that. It's all about being smooth and silky on this track, just letting the car flow, trying to keep that balance of in the neutral position. Try and maximise the grip from both the front and also the rear. As you can see, it looks like the guys in P2 are starting to close up on the leader as well. So at the moment it's kind of a 4-way battle. As you can see, I'm 1.3 seconds behind 4th position. I'm just kind of sat here lingering more than anything. I'm just trying to keep pace with them and hope that somewhere along the line there's a little bit of contact that will bring me back into play. I've gone very wide again there. There's my second 1X for the race. Here the tyres pretty much squealing all the time through that sequence of corners. As the wear levels do drop, I've gone pretty deep into that corner, deeper than I would have liked to, but that guy's gone very wide onto the grass. He's just about managed to keep hold of it, so that's going to slow him down a fair bit, and possibly the guy behind him in P4 as well. So hopefully we'll be able to close a little bit coming through this hairpin here. And whilst it looks like I'm getting closer, the actual delta time down in the bottom right there in the relative box didn't really change all that much. It just hung around the 1.4, 1.3 sort of mark. But yeah, I quite enjoy this sequence of corners here. It's kind of fun and a little bit tricky. This corner here I do like. Try and hook up a fairly tight apex, so it's a little difficult. If you do run out wide, it does become very, very risky if you're still on the power. to try and avoid the grass on the outside. And it looks like P2's having a run on P1, coming through that corner down the inside. It is just about possible to get through there. The guy on the outside does have to give room. I've had it plenty of times where I've stuck my nose in and the guy's just come across and chopped it, and yeah, there's been contact. There's a little bit of contact there, as you can see. So we're closing the gap now. Oh, more contact as P2 gets spun out by P3, which is going to slow him. P4 has slipped up now into P2, and I am closing, but it doesn't look like I've got enough straight to try and have an opportunity to try and sniff past him, although I am going to close on him a little bit more coming through the first turn. So this is kind of what I was hoping for, just a little bit of contact and a little bit of battling. Oh, he's gone a little bit slower there through that first part of the corner that I was expecting. We made a little bit of contact, but I didn't get any penalty points for it because the contact was so minor, which was very fortunate, as I didn't quite anticipate that properly. But yeah, that's not what I was hoping for. I was dipping the wheels on the grass there, and there's another penalty point. So I've got 3 so far this race, just by dipping the wheels onto the grass in various places. But yeah, like I was saying, I was just hoping that the guys in front start battling fairly hard, or they make contact, or just bring me back into play. I was just trying to maintain my ground, and that was a good run through the exit of that corner. Gap now 1.1, as you can see, to 3rd position. Come into the braking zone for turn 1 on lap 12 out of 15, and it looks like P1 and P2 are fairly close together and battling ever so very slightly. We'll see if we can take advantage of that once again, coming into the latter stages and the closing parts of this race. I've just kind of been lingering there for most of the time, just kind of minding my own business really. Working that corner out fairly nicely, although I could have unwound the wheel ever so very slightly earlier and got on the throttle a little bit more. Okay-ish run through the exit there of that hairpin, although I did have to come off the throttle ever so very slightly. I think I did pick it up a little bit too early. Ideally I would just like to get on the throttle and stayed on it, possibly balance it. As you can see, P1 and P2 are very close together once again, and P3 is closing in on those guys. As you can see, I've dropped back ever so slightly. The gap's now 1.5, 1.4, 1.3, so I've had a better run through that corner than the guy ahead, but generally I tend to struggle a little bit coming through here as he runs the grass on the outside ever so very slightly. Hooked up the inside quite nicely there, carried the speed through, which is good, but it just seems I can't always quite get the line spot on consistently compared to other people. So we are coming into the second to last lap now, lap 14 out of 15. And this is where things are going to start to get interesting. As you can see, the gap 1.3 seconds. The guys, the top 3 are all very close together now. This is where desperate moves start to be made to try and get into first place and then defend and hold it. And I am sat in a fairly prime position right now. As you can see, the guys are all battling, so I am closing up on them fairly slowly. I would have liked to have been closing a little bit quicker, but the guys in front are a fair bit quicker than I am. So I'm just trying to keep it fairly smooth and see if I can continue to close this gap down as we're coming into the last corner now of this second to last lap, and it looks like someone's trying to get up the inside there. It looks like there's contact, in fact. Yep, definitely contact. There's someone spinning off, and I've just gone punting straight into the back of the guy ahead and got myself 4 penalty points. We're now slipped up into second, and it looks like I'm battling for the lead. I believe that the guy who was in second originally, caused the guy in first to spin, backed out, wanting to try and let the guy past, and basically because he was off the throttle, me coming onto the throttle and also the other guy in front anticipating him to pull away, led us to both bumping into the back of him. But looks like fairly close now. Got a fairly decent run coming out for the exit of this corner. I'm going to try and see if I can pick up the slipstream, which I'm doing, and try and get up the inside of this corner just here. Is giving me room, and I just about managed to slip up the inside there without understeering too much and making any contact. That was done nicely and cleanly. So and now we just got off first on the last lap, so we're now coming into the last corner, so I want to try and hang it as tightly as possible to the inside curb and present it with no opportunity to dive down the inside. Still trying to carry that a little bit of speed though, and it looks like he's closing. He's going to make contact with the rear of my car and shoved and punted me round. Stayed in the throttle, trying to recover the car and trying to get it back facing the right direction without losing too many places. Very close there to taking someone else out, and as you can see, everyone's just flying past, and that's going to drop me all the way down into P8, and the guy who caused that has gone and taken the win. And yeah, that's my reaction right there. As you could probably tell, I was fairly pissed off in the way that I tried to recover the car, but watch these replay cams, give the video a rating. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave them below, and of course don't forget to voice your opinion on the incident down below as well. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about it. Thanks very much for watching, guys. Take care.